Has life been really unfair to you? If any of you answered no, then I'm pretty damn sure that you're lying. You know why I know this? Because life is unfair. But the catch is that the unfairness in the world isn't uniformly spread out, because unfairness is random, and randomness always happens in clusters. So life is more unfair to some than others, but it never misses anyone for long. And a lot of the time, the unfairness was not our faults. We didn't decide to be born poor, or born into a culture that prejudices against our race, or to be born with a genetic disorder. We didn't decide to have narcissistic or alcoholic parents. We didn't decide to be short or balding. This all just happened to us. And with all this unfairness going around, the easiest thing for any man or woman to do is to identify as a victim. And now, more than ever, with the existence of internet forums and WhatsApp groups and an almost limitless number of alternative online platforms, we can find other victims to commiserate with. But this is destroying us as men. And this is what I want to talk about today. The opposite of victimhood is taking responsibility. And for those of us who are in victim spaces, this can be a very hard distinction to make. Because responsibility does not equal deserving. If someone leaves a baby on your doorstep, you don't deserve to have to deal with this situation. But right now, in this moment, that baby is now your responsibility. You can leave it to die, you can call the police, you can bring it to the hospital. These are all options available to you. But the responsibility is now on your shoulders. Likewise, if your girlfriend cheats on you, you don't deserve to be cheated on, but the situation is now your responsibility. And being cheated on hurts a lot. It's okay to cry. It's okay to lose perspective for a while. After all, you're not a machine. But at some point, we all have to take responsibility for the situation. At some point, we have to say to ourselves, okay, what were the red flags leading up to the cheating? Were there warning signs about her right in the beginning? Did I push her away? Did I alienate her? Again, these questions aren't meant to make it your fault. It's not your fault. But taking responsibility means empowering yourself to be less likely to suffer the same way again a second time, without shutting off from the world. Mark Manson has a fantastic quote in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Spider-Man has this famous saying, "With great power comes great responsibility." But if you invert this quote, you get something far more profound. With great responsibility comes great power. And I'll say it again because this simple sentence needs to become a part of your new life philosophy. With great responsibility comes great power. So many men I've worked with go through life feeling disempowered. They're short, they're balding, they're not the right race, and they try to hide from this aspect of who they are. They may even tell themselves a story that no woman wants to date a guy like me. And then they walk away from women emotionally. And that failure of responsibility is incredibly disempowering. I'm not trying to say that dating wouldn't be easier if you were a 6'3" white guy with a full head of hair. But that's not you. Take responsibility for who you are right now. This is the only way you get to be empowered in life, not just with women. Be willing to face the dating world knowing that it's harder for you than some others. But be determined to find a way to make it work for you as best as possible. You don't get to feel like a man unless you are empowered at least most of the time. Victimhood leaves men feeling impotent and powerless and weak. And in the 13 years I've been working with men, this has become something I see more and more often. And I get it. Taking responsibility is hard. I may present well here on YouTube, but do you all know that when I was 32 and my business was growing rapidly and everything in my life was finally coming together after years of hard work, my 70-hour weeks and absolute shambles of a personal life were paying off. My body betrayed me. I ended up with an undiagnosed health condition that left me almost housebound and unable to work for 6 goddamn years. I was essentially in a prison of intense, uncontrollable, and unending stress for 6 years. That's how long it took me to diagnose the problem myself, long after 7 different specialists had decided it must be all in my head. Spoiler alert, it was a rare protein production deficiency, an epigenetic foible that I was not at fault for, but that was triggered by the high stress load my professional life was putting on me. And yes, I had days I wanted to give up. I was depressed at times. Very smart doctors told me there wasn't much I could do. But I took responsibility. I never stopped taking responsibility for myself. I hired staff to take over my roles. I stopped trying to grow the company further. I decided to travel around the world and make the very best of what my life had become for the time being. Even now, my life will never be 100% normal again. I still have limitations, although my life is a lot better than it was for those 6 years. But I'll never be able to work 70 hours a week again. But I don't benefit from hiding from this fact. Look, life sucks, but what's going to empower you all as men is taking responsibility and deciding that you're going to do the very fucking best you can with what you've got. And when you do that, I can't promise you'll become king of the world. We can't all become kings, or billionaires, or playboys, but we can live the very best that an unfair life can offer us. When you meet a man who takes responsibility for his life, you can't help but respect him. And women will be attracted to him. No, not all women. It's not some magical female hormone catnip. But women in general will find you a lot more appealing than if you're a victim in life. But none of that matters compared to the feeling of being empowered. Being empowered won't mean more bad stuff won't happen, but it means that you're willing to tackle life head on and have faith that you'll be able to cope when the shitty, unfair stuff happens. And cope doesn't always mean you'll be unharmed. No matter how empowered you are, someone in the future is going to hurt you, probably quite badly. And you'll recover and move forward again, and you know it. That's the best possible life you can live. As always, guys, if you're interested to work with me in person, I do Zoom coaching, and I'll leave a link below in the comments. But what I'd really like to know in the comments is who here has begun to take responsibility for their lives and notice how big a change it can make. Write your experience out so other men who are struggling to take the leap can be inspired by your story. Until next time, take care and stay safe and take responsibility.